When Mitch called me and talked to me about being the head coach here at Kentucky, I understand the assignment. We are here to win banners.
Back outside. This is the point where he always hits it. Oh! Aaron Harrison beyond belief.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. Game Day edition, January 21st, 2026. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 on the FM side of things, 1450 on the AM side of things. Stephen Peak in studio joining me, TJ Walker, and on the other side of the wall is producer Matt Childers. Hope everybody's having a great hump day. Lunchtime, check out Salsaritas, wildly addictive chips, awesome quesadillas. I'm a huge sucker for their quesadillas. Wife loves the nachos. Anything there you're going to find delicious, and it'll fill you up. So keep them in mind for lunch. 3 locations in the Louisville area, Middletown, St. Matthews, and out Bullitt County, I-65. Normally do the Salsaritas ad a little after lunch. I'm going to start trying to do it so I get in people's brains. They need
it's a good idea.
Roll call, some Salsaritas. It's going to be a good
What do they put on the chips, TJ? What do they put on the chips?
Wildly addictiveness.
They are.
Yep. It's that little seasoning goes a long way. I love how thin they are.
Yeah, that too.
They're just, you can eat too many of them, really. You can look down and be like, oh, my goodness. But thankfully, they give you so many of them that you'll almost certainly have leftovers. What's new in Peak Land?
Well, I just had an interesting conversation with Scoots.
Well, now I know you're lying.
I have a lot of interesting conversations with Scoots. I hope he's listening right now because I'm going to talk about it. He came in, and I wished him congratulations on Indiana winning the national title, and he said, it just doesn't feel like I thought it would feel.
That's what he said to me yesterday. And I brought that up on the show. We did a little segment.
Okay.
We did a little
not bad.
No, but I wouldn't. You had a different conversation with him, but I compared it to his happiness that I saw yesterday was the equivalent of like when the teacher forgets to collect the homework. It doesn't totally change your day, but for like that moment, you're like, this is pretty sweet. I compared it to a couple other things as well. But yes, he was happy, but I was like, I thought you'd be a little happier, and he said the same thing to me.
Yeah, well, when your team wins a championship, what do? You get to buy a T-shirt, buy the hat, and that's pretty much it. And I think there's something in the journey. You talked about it when I brought up the Cubs World Series. Now I can watch those highlights every day and still feel something in that from that Game 7.
Still real to me, damn it.
Yes. But I think like you think that if you're striving for something, whether all season or your whole life, and you think that once you get it, and especially when you're kind of living vicariously through other individuals and their accomplishments, as we do as sports fans, that you get to it, you win it, and you go, okay, now what? Well, there's next season, I guess. And it made me think of there's that term hedonic adaptation. I think it's what it's called. And they did a study on this in the 1970s where they had like grouchy, angry people. They studied and like really optimistic people. And the grouchy, angry people who like they won the lottery, they just became like rich, grouchy, angry people. And then these they followed people who were super optimistic, and they then became paraplegic, and they just became happy, optimistic people in wheelchairs. So basically, you just go back to, like, no accomplishment's going to change who you are, really. So I found that interesting.
Reminded me of the Scotty Scheffler press conference he did, whatever major it was. Do you remember that after last year? Was it, producer Matt, do you remember it?
What was it again?
Scotty Scheffler press conference. It wasn't PGA because he didn't win the PGA. What did he win? Maybe it was the U.S. Open, whatever it was. And it was just like, man, you've been unbelievable. Like, this has just got to be just a whirlwind for you. And he was like, it's honestly just, it's fun. I'm happy, but I've already checked all the boxes now. It's like you work so hard your entire life or something. I've done it, and it does lose a little bit of its luster a bit.
Gosh, it must just be horrible.
That was kind of my takeaway at the time when we were talking about that. I was like,
to be the best golfer in the world as fast as possible and then just be the richest man I could possibly ever meet. I really feel for that guy.
Yeah, so the price stuff, the net worth stuff, that's a whole different ballgame. But But to a certain extent, even that, I'll give you two examples, producer Matt. On the one hand, if you're Scotty Scheffler, different for us three, obviously. But you do get to a point where it's like, all right, I'm rich. I'll always be rich. I only have, 40, 50 more years to live. I couldn't blow through this money if I was Antoine Walker after draft night. Like, I'm set. So how much more rich can I really get? I'm rich. Like, my life's already set. I don't need to worry about money anymore. So I can get it from that standpoint. And then while we can get it, or I can understand it from that standpoint, but I'll never be in his shoes, one area where I have been in his shoes is, of course, the time at Park Mammoth where I shot a 79 after not golfing for 2 years.
Nice.
Am I one of the world's best golfers? No, in all seriousness, we've all played that video game that we just get sick of because we've beaten it so many times, right? It's just like it's not that fun to you. You can keep playing it. You can keep being dominant at it. It's not like all of a sudden you're going to forget, but it just loses a little bit of its shine, and I think that's where Scotty Scheffler was. That's what Scoots is saying, but what I would just remind Scoots is that, like, yes, it's unbelievable that Indiana did this just even off the get-go. Do it again. Keep doing it. Yeah, you can enjoy Big Ten play. Go win another Big Ten championship. Go beat more teams.
And you get to be a champion forever. You get to have that memory. You get to
Yeah, just tell U of L 2013.
Yeah.
Nobody can take that away.
Nobody can take that away except for the NCAA. Which, by the way, I don't know we'll get to this.
Oh, yeah.
Do they even exist anymore?
We've got a jam-packed show for today. We're going to talk NCAA. It's Kentucky versus Texas tonight at Rupp Arena. I am so worried for these next two home games. It's ridiculously dumb to be this worried about like an 11-7 team and whatever Ole Miss is.
You too. I feel that way.
I'm worried about both these games. Honestly, I'll probably be close to as excited with a 2-0 week this week than I was last week, and those were road games. And these teams are certainly worse, I would say, than the two teams last week, or LSU certainly is the worst of the bunch, and Tennessee's the best of the bunch, so it probably averages out. We will get into that. Jacob Polachek's going to join us. Excited to talk with him. That'll be in hour number 2. Producer Matt, how are you? How was your Tuesday? How's your Wednesday going? What's up in Producer Matt land?
I'm good. My Wednesday's been pretty good so far. I got to do just the cats from home, so I got to sleep in a little bit, so that was nice. Yesterday was extremely, extremely long. I was here in the studio from about 11:30 to like 10:30 last night. Not mad about it. Got to be on all the shows from here on through the Mike Rutherford Show to Ticket Punchers, and that's always fun to do. And then I did the St. X basketball game last night. Fortunate for St. X, David Levitch gets himself another win.
So I was working out. Shout out to St. X, best basketball program in the state.
Basketball school.
Basketball school. They YouTube all their games, and it's a good production, and they sync over the John Spears and Burke audio, so it's like you're listening to the radio broadcast, but it's probably just some students that are running a camera, and all their home games you can watch on the stream. And high school basketball is great because it's not 2 hours and 15 minutes. The games go by quick. There's not a TV timeout every 2 seconds. And I've watched St. X many a times this year, but this was probably the first time from start to finish I was able to actually watch the game in its entirety. I think I missed maybe 2 minutes of the first quarter. But all things considered, I was like, all right, this is sweet. I'll work out, have the game on the YouTube, had college basketball on the other TV. It was just it felt like I was a blast from the past night. I used to do that stuff all the time. Now with kids, you do get to watch college basketball, but it's usually interrupted in some capacity. I'm certainly not complaining. What a game it was to watch, and I knew it would be. South Oldham is one of the South Oldham or North Oldham?
I think it's North Oldham.
It's North Oldham, yes, and I said that incorrect earlier today too. North Oldham. It's 100% North Oldham. North Oldham's one of the best teams in the state. St. X is ranked the number 1 team in the state, coming off an LIT championship. I'm pretty sure St. X has only lost to one in-state opponent this year, and that was Mail in the King of the Bluegrass by like 2 points, and they obviously already came back and got a win against Mail, so they've got revenge for their one loss. North Oldham, I say this as a loving St. X alum and fan, they just look like the better team. It wasn't really even fluky at all. They went into St. X, they got the win. St. X had plenty of chances at the buzzer to tie it or make it interesting.
They turned the ball over like 2 or 3 times in a row.
Well, North Oldham it was like they'd miss their free throws and then St. X would turn the ball over. And then they'd miss their free throws and then St. X would turn the ball over. So the door was left open for the Tigers. I'd love to see these teams play against one another. If you remember that Green fella, his Max Green, something Green for North Oldham, he was the star at Male, and then he left to go to a prep school, and in classic, hilarious, just Louisville and the surrounding areas, high school basketball, Eli Green, he ends up transferring over to North Oldham, and he's incredible. He had 22 points last night. But the star of the show, Stephen Peak,
who was it?
Was Pierre Rondo with 17 points and 9 assists in an upset win over the number 1 team in the state. And if you're saying Pierre Rondo, that name sounds familiar. Yep, it's him. That's Rajon Rondo's boy. And, so he dominated. It was fun. He plays just like his dad. And one little caveat, he's an 8th grader.
Wow.
He is an 8th grader. And I don't think people are freaking out enough about this. And if you're not on the, if you don't care about sports and stuff like that. But St. X is truly probably the best team in the state. And it's really competitive. So there's probably about 5 in-state teams, maybe 10 in-state teams even on any given night. They could beat St. X. It's going to be a really fun year of regionals and district tournaments, and high school basketball in Kentucky is as healthy as it's ever been, because everybody's so competitive right now. And an 8th grader went into the number 1 team's gym and just dominated the game. St. X could not stay in front of him. They could not guard him. And he obviously has some flaws in his game. He's really little. But he's
watching highlights right now.
12 years old, Peak.
Yeah, he's 5'11" in the 8th grade. He's going to grow.
Dude, he is going to grow. His shot is already better than Dad's.
I was going to ask.
He's like a 64, 65% free throw shooter, so that will need to improve.
That's just like Dad.
It is just like Dad. But his three-point shot just looks a lot more in control. And he's already just like a freak athlete and has unbelievable vision.
Oh, the passing. I'm watching right
loves, now. And this is actually something St. X maybe should have been a little better at, but he'll just go to the baseline with nowhere to go, and guess what? He'll find somebody falling out of bounds. He'll find somebody, and he'll throw it. If you're St. X, let him fall out of bounds and then just pick everybody up. Don't let him have anywhere to go with the ball, but easier said than done, obviously. He was incredible, and he's in 8th grade.
You got to Michael Avery.
Yeah, I said you got to get your Billy Gillespie on, and I had somebody be like, you think Mark Pope's a weirdo? And I was like, no, Billy Gillespie's probably a weirdo for many, many reasons.
Yeah,
but
what did Michael Avery end up doing?
That was a reference to Billy Gillespie's love of offering the youngsters. If you were a talented 8th grader or freshman in high school, Billy G was not going to be scared to be up in your living room and offer you a scholarship. Kentucky needs to let Rondo know, like, hey, just so you know, this needs to come straight from Mr. Top Button himself. Mitch Barnhart needs to knock on Rondo's door and just say, hey, I don't care who the coach is, and I hopefully will be long gone by this point, but whenever it's 2030 and your son's ready to play college basketball, come on to Kentucky. Don't care who's here. You've got an open invite.
I mean, by 2030, it'll probably just be the NBA too. So, I mean, he might not get to play.
Well, that's a good point, too. That's a good point. But highly recommend checking out North Oldham, not South Oldham. No offense to the Dragons. Highly recommend checking out North Oldham basketball if you get a chance. And check out St. X, too, because they're really good. They've got a guy going to Southern Illinois next year, which I actually think he could probably go a little higher than that and may end up going higher than that. I would almost guarantee you he won't finish at Southern Illinois. They've got a sophomore in Josh Lindsay who's getting recruited by Kentucky and Louisville. Again, the Eli Green guy for North Oldham is incredible. But when you watch that game, knowing that was an 8th grader, you just couldn't help but be shocked by how impressive he was.
Just watching the highlights.
St. X at Male on Friday, too. So St. X has just had an unbelievable run. Played Male, played J-Town, win the LIT, turn right back around, have to play North Oldham, who's one of the better teams in the state, and then just a few days later you get Male on Friday night. But who knows if those games are going to happen. Have you all been keeping up with Stormageddon?
A little bit, because I'm going to be making some trips down 64 east and west. So yeah, I'm locked in.
St. X had beaten North Oldham earlier this year by 10 in the King of the Bluegrass. So, it's going to just be a fun. It's going to be a fun district and regional high school basketball. 7th region's nuts. I mean, Ballard can legitimately win it.
Mm-hmm.
Mail can win it. St. X can win it. Trinity can, but they're probably weird. It's weird to say this about Trinity, but they're probably like a step behind some of these other places in the 7th region this year.
Football school.
Forgetting who actually J-Town's not in the 7th region, right? They're in the 6th region. So Ballard, Mail, St. X, Manual solid, Trinity solid. It's going to be another really competitive 7th region. But yeah, J-Town I'm pretty sure is in 6th. They beat St. X in the state tournament last year, so it couldn't have been in the regional. All right, whatever. I'll figure it all out. Yes, I'm keeping an eye on the weather for Friday and Saturday. To the point, Peak, that it crossed my mind, like I wonder if UK's game at noon could be impacted, because that sounds like that's when it's going to be the thick of it, like the real heavy stuff.
I was wondering that as well, since I'm somebody who will have to make that trip.
You may want to spend the night Friday night in Lex.
Oof,
or
probably not going to happen.
Or get to the point where you're just not going to go. It sounds like it's going to be really bad. It sounds like at best we're going to just get pounded. I guess at best the whole storm could go so far south that we don't get that much.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like that's happening. So at best, we're going to get pounded by snow. At everything I've read on it, and I like reading the weather blogs, at worst, we're going to get some sort of like ice-snow mixture in the power lines and the trees. It's going to be like 2009 all over again.
Oh, man, that was a wild time. As if everyone, I mean, you can't forget it if you
the
lived through
city was
it.
shut down for a week. It was a week.
There was one Wendy's open on, I think it was Taylorsville Road near my house, and it was chaos in there. And I'm sure every single worker, because it's the only thing that was open. The only
First off,
restaurant.
The owner of that restaurant should be sued for leaving that place open for their employees to have to come in.
That good point. But yeah, I think they were like, you got to be kidding me. I have to come into work today. This is what?
That year was the most Bullitt County thing I'd ever done. It was really bad. Our entire cul-de-sac was frozen over, and my dad had a riding lawnmower. So whenever it froze over, he brought me out there, and he took me on the riding lawnmower, turned the blades off, obviously, and we like drifted around the cul-de-sac in this riding lawnmower.
Oh, that sounds like a blast. Sounds like a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So something to keep an eye on, but if you're planning on travel Friday or especially Saturday, you may want to possibly reconsider, because there is some nastiness coming to the area. All parts of Kentucky seem like it's going to be impacted. So even if you're outside the Louisville, Jefferson County area, to a matter of fact, the further south is the worse it may be. So, and especially eastern Kentucky, it's not going to be great for them.
I wonder about Ole Miss getting there.
Yeah, and that's another thing, that they probably need to leave tomorrow. If I were them, I wouldn't want a chance at Friday unless you're leaving butt crack of dawn first thing, and maybe maybe they are.
Is it supposed to start on Friday?
I think it's supposed to start like
during the day or at night?
Well, so the timelines have sort of changed and shifted.
Look at outside right now.
But it seems like,
did it start today?
Well, maybe so.
It was snowing on the way, like on my way here.
This morning, it was super bizarre, because like, you know how cold it's been the last 3 days.
Yeah,
I've been out working in it, so
yeah.
I know all too well. And maybe the second thing the wife said to me this morning, she's like, so did it not snow last night? It just ended up raining? And I was just like, when do you think at any point that it was going to be warm enough for it to rain? Like, and then it was dark. You couldn't see outside, but there was like a little dusting of snow outside. She just, I think, maybe thought it was going to be more than that. And she instantly was like, oh yeah, it can't rain when it's that cold. Sure enough, it was actually raining on my way into the studio today. So shout out to Hannah. It was kind of like spitting rain, and now it's kind of back to snow. But the ice is the worst. You don't want the ice. It's worse for the roads. It's worse for power lines and power being knocked out and then having to get it restored. Let's just fingers crossed in the Louisville area it'll be snow, but it looks like it could be a little bit of anything. And then, yeah, I think they're saying initially it was going to be like Friday around rush hour. I think now they're saying it's going to be a little later Friday evening. But there's some people that are saying it's not going to start till like 2 a.m. Saturday morning, and then just all day Saturday is going to be. I wonder, going to be the impact day.
They when the Tennessee Valley Authority this is like over a decade ago, they had to like shut down. They were planning on shutting down electricity in certain parts of the state, of like southwestern Kentucky. Murray State had to move a basketball game up to like 11 a.m. It was supposed to be a 7 p.m. game. They moved it up to 11 a.m. the day of. I wonder, do you think Kentucky, if it ever got to where the forecast is real bad, do you think they could move it up to Friday?
I think they'd probably be more likely to move it to like Sunday.
Okay.
In that scenario.
Let it melt.
But the issue is Kentucky's got to go to Nashville on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So this is Kentucky's second to last penultimate Wednesday game this season. Now they could, I guess, play on Wednesday in the SEC tournament.
Let's hope not.
You better not, Mark Pope.
Right.
They could play Wednesday in Dayton. You better not, Mark Pope. Although, again, if it's going to be a bad season, one year I do want to see Kentucky in Dayton. I just never want to say, like, this year I want to see Kentucky in Dayton. You know what I'm saying with that? But this was the second to last Wednesday game for the Cats. Next week is back to what I'm. And by the way, Kentucky still playing on Wednesdays, even though all SEC games this year up to this point have been Wednesday games. It's throwing my whole week off. Trash goes out on Wednesday. It used to be like, all right, get home from the post-game show or get done watching UK basketball on Tuesday. My whole week's just getting thrown off with these Wednesday games. But sure enough, they moved back to Tuesday. My guess is they'll try to get Ole Miss in as soon as they can, as early as they can, and they will just play it on Saturday. But a concern for tonight and for Saturday, I worry about the crowds, Peak. I've been to some Kentucky games where there's been bad weather or scary weather. I went to a Billy Gillispie Mississippi State game in 2009 where the state got a pretty bad snowstorm. And Rupp, when there's not a bunch of people there, is awkward. It's weird. Maybe people went during the pandemic, and I'm not saying that there's going to be like 4,000 people there at the game on Saturday, but even 13,000, even 15,000 just feels, when you're talking about 5,000 to 8,000 empty seats, it is just a different atmosphere. And I'm not saying that by itself is going to make Kentucky play worse because, I think the crowd's been great this year, but it didn't help them find or pull out a win against Missouri, and that certainly wasn't the crowd's fault. I worry about it tonight with it just kind of being nasty out. It's spitting, and people know that bad weather's coming. They may just associate it with tonight. I worry about the crowd tonight. I worry about the crowd on Saturday. Both of these teams, Texas and Ole Miss, they're good teams, especially Texas tonight. They're one of the best scoring teams. They get to the free throw line better than just about anybody. So whether I worry about just my fellow citizen, be safe, everybody, but more importantly, I worry about the Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah, I woke up today and I thought I'm way more worried about this game than I thought I would be. I think it's so important that you come out of this week 2-0. And you're right there in the thick of it to be top of the SEC. But this game has me a little concerned.
Yeah.
I think that, like you said, they shoot a million free throws. And I don't know if we're going to be able to stop fouling them. And I worry about guys getting in foul trouble.
Hope you guys aren't applying for any credentials tonight because I got the horns down on the screen, so that's a no-go.
No. The YouTube stream is great tonight. For some reason, you got Diego Pavier's mom up there. I love it. Can't get enough of her.
I'll let Justin pick one picture. That's the one he picked.
That's a great pick, Scoots. I love it. It's random. It's fun. It got me thinking about when they just showed her 64,000 times during the UK game. Vandy, another touchdown. Ooh, you're twerking. All right, another touchdown for the Commodores. Ooh, dancing on the rail. All right, the third touchdown for that guy that's going to U of L now. Let's throw it over to Diego Pavier's mother. Oh, she's reading a Bible this time.
Wow, shocking.
I didn't see that one coming.
No. Got to mix it up every once in a while.
I love it. The YouTube stream looks beautiful today. The horns down is a nice touch as well.
I mean, when you look at Texas and what they've done in their last 3 games, kind of confusing. They lose to Texas A&M at home, but it's a rivalry game. Weird things happen. But then beating Vanderbilt, who, I don't know, maybe Vanderbilt's, I don't want to say they're frauds. They're obviously good.
I think they're on a skid right now.
Yeah, but they're obviously not like win the SEC good. Texas also went on the road at Alabama and won.
We know what the Cats did at Alabama.
I think there is reason to be concerned about this game.
This is an elite scoring team from Texas. They've got just great scores. They're terrible defensively. They've got one big man. He's really talented. He's a good big man, but that's pretty much it for the front court. This is a game that Kentucky, it maybe surprised me a little bit, but this is a game that Kentucky, theoretically, if Texas is having an off night, they should blitz them. They should win it easily.
Sure.
If Texas is on, I wouldn't be shocked if Kentucky's playing catch-up the entire game, where it's like an 8-point Texas buffer zone game, where I'm saying Kentucky kind of not blown out, but they're never fully in it. And by the way, have you seen Kentucky during stretches the last
I have
3 games, several games? I mean, they're known to be duty for 5 to 10 minutes even. So I'm also nervous about it. A shout out to that YouTube stream. If you go ahead and like it, we'd like that. And people are commenting. Fun guy Jake says, TJ, remember the 2014 run and watching at the bars in Lexington? It was amazing community feel. 14 run, we would really 14 run, 12 run, 15. 15 is when we kind of started doing bars for the tournament. But at that point, we were all back in Louisville and whatnot. 14 and 12, we did house parties. That we maybe did a bar for a game potentially, but we did house parties for most of those runs for what it was worth. Or in 14, we were at some of the games. We went to the games in Indianapolis because it was easy to drive.
Did you go to both? You went to both Michigan games?
Yeah, Louisville on Friday and Michigan on Sunday.
Where were you at? Did it look like the shot got blocked? Harrison's three that won it.
I've never had, with the exception of the 2012 Final Four at the Superdome, I'd never had worse seats than that 2014 Sweet 16. And we slightly improved for the Elite Eight game, but we were in the 300s, and I couldn't really see jack diddly, if we're going to be honest.
But you're in the building. You're in the atmosphere.
Oh, yeah, I was in the building. Fun atmosphere. To bring it back home to Fun Guys Jake's point, he said it was an amazing community feel back then. Imagine Rupp, you'd get similar but even better atmosphere, and you could bring the whole family. So we talked about it a little bit. This goes back to a discussion we had yesterday, if you didn't hear, where I said the sense of community at Assembly Hall for the IU National Championship game against Miami on Monday night was incredible. That place looked jam-packed. And then I followed it up by saying, what a miserable place to watch a national championship game, and I would never do that for my team. And both of these fellas, they attacked me like jackals. I mean, they got on me immediately, and they were like, bad take, TJ. And then we talked off the air, and after I got done beating both of them up, we came to a conclusion. No, I clarified and just basically said, like, it's just not for me. It looks cool. I see why people would like the appeal, but I wouldn't want to be, like, squished in a seat for a game that's not happening directly in front of my eyeballs, that's really being played there. I wouldn't want to have to wait in a line for a game that I'm not actually at. I wouldn't want to have to pay $8 for a soda or $12 for a beer for a game that's not actually unfolding in front of my eyes. Now, the atmosphere aspect of it, sure, the community feel, yes, I think it'd be cool. It's just not for me. That's kind of where we had come to grips. Just not for me. I just wouldn't want to be squished like that. And I don't know, I think we all kind of came to the same page that, like, yes, it's not the most ideal seating arrangement.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. It would depend on the venue. It would depend on where it's being watched at.
That's true.
You're right. If for some reason I was around the Indiana area and the game, I wouldn't choose to watch a game in Assembly Hall. I would, it'd have to be a nicer arena.
But like the Yum Center, pretty nice arena, great seating in the lower bowl, comfy seats. Like that, even in its own right, would kind of be a little bit different. Another texter says, probably too much salt for the chips at Salsaritas. Well, they're laying down a bunch of salt on the roads, but those actually, they do the appropriate amount. I love the amount of salt on the chips at Salsaritas. And then Fun Guy Jake says, I worked at Outback on Fern Valley by the airport, and we had a generator and was the only place open. 5-hour wait for a table. We sold out of everything. That sounds insane.
I don't know who I think is worse, the people who are opening these places or the people who are going to them.
What? People need food. A bad take.
You should have prepped.
The news exists. Sometimes you can't prep. Sometimes you're a little late to the prep. I'm actually doing my prepping today. I've got more inspections out in this stuff, which is gross, but then I'm gonna go hit up one of the stores because tomorrow and Friday will be bad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've seen the remnants. It's not like there won't be stuff there. There will be, but no, I think it's great that those places are open. Just don't like be a jerk to your employees and be like, get your ass to the store. I don't care if you have to walk in the snow. But I've heard of some places being like, the boss came and picked me up. Like he came in his big truck and like came and got me and made sure to drop me home. But if that's just a way to make money and that's a way to feed people that are hungry, producer Matt. You want people to go hungry?
I think people can prep for themselves.
But they didn't. So what do you want to do now?
If I got called into work, if I worked that kind of job, like a service industry job, and it was a huge snowstorm like we're expecting, and nowhere else is open, and my boss calls me and is like, I'll come get you, I'm hanging the phone up. I'm sorry.
I'd be like, what are we talking about with payment?
You going to take me home? No, I don't want that. I don't want to go out there. It's going to be horrible. There's going to be 80,000 people in there. We're not going to have enough food. I'm not doing that.
But everybody's going to be understanding that, like, you all are the nice place that's open. I'm going to be more likely to tip.
Because that's exactly how the service industry works.
I've actually never worked in the service industry.
I have.
And it shows.
You never worked in a restaurant?
My wife was, she worked in a restaurant for a long time. And, like, when we first started dating, she was that. She's taking some shreds today. I love you. But she was the type of, like, person that'd be like, well, when we'd go to a restaurant, she'd be like, well, I worked at a restaurant before. So, like, we want to all order now, or like, let's, she'd like be getting all the the menus together and like picking everything up and stuff like that, which is totally polite. And I'm a huge fan of leaving places better than you find it. But yes, people that worked in the service industry are sure quick to tell you about it.
It sucks. It's common. I feel like it's common courtesy. I think everybody should have one service industry job, and it'll open your eyes.
I hear that all the time.
They always say that too.
I'm being serious. I think that if every single person worked even just one job for like a month, you could be blown away by the horrible people you have to meet sometimes.
In all sincerity, I don't doubt that, and I think that applies not only to the service industry, but like people should just try a bunch of different things and put yourself, even things that you haven't tried, put yourself in the shoes of people that are doing that job.
That's true too.
But yes, like I bet if the meanest people had to wait on people for just a couple hours in a day, it would change their behavior, and they'd be like, oh goodness. People just don't know how to act socially. I don't think you have to totally work in the social or in the food industry to not be a jerk, but I do think it'd go a long way in helping. And I don't doubt that, like, people in the service industry, they have stories and stories and stories. Again, I'd tell the story about Duran Lamb asking my college girlfriend to cut up his steak.
Yeah, that's an hilarious story.
Who up? Who up?
When
sleep.
When I was working at Topgolf, I had someone actually take a poop in one of the bays that I was working in.
So that's not good. Yeah, you don't want people taking poops in bays.
What?
Bays and poops.
Hang on, Matthew. What are you talking about?
I was the manager at this point. So I was the manager on the floor. And at the end of every night, when everybody's gone, I have to go and walk every bay and make sure it's clean, make sure everything's set up. And I haven't gotten to that point yet. I have to wait for them to get finished cleaning their stuff, and someone comes up to me and goes, hey, Matt, can you come check this for me real quick? And I'm like, what's going on? And they go, I'm pretty sure someone just pooped in my bay. And I just started laughing. I was like, come on, I'm trying to go home. It's like 1 a.m. And then she showed me the bottom of her shoe.
Oh no!
It was smeared on the ground.
Oh no!
Because the lights were off and she couldn't see it.
Do you have their name? You can they be banned from all?
Yes, you go. I know. I went into the system and those people are not there anymore.
No, I'm not gonna ask you for their name. But
did you reach out to them and be like, hey, you all, we saw the Duke that you left. We don't really appreciate it.
I did not. That is not my job. That's a
I would have
an upper management position job.
Whoever picked it up, I'd be like, give me the number. I want to reach out to this. What's their name? We got their credit card information. I'm tracking this person down. I want to have a conversation with them. Let them know that it was a pleasure to pick up their defecation.
We had that. We had a drunk guy go into the employee staircase and start peeing down it. He thought it was a bathroom.
That's normal.
And then we had a linen closet out back, and we found a homeless guy sleeping in there one time.
Oh,
wow!
Should have given him some of the
Topgolf.
Good place to sleep.
The Topgolf blankets in Louisville, I guess you're saying.
Yes, of course.
Wait, so was that a one person, or was that a group of people where you found the leavings in the bay?
So that was I don't know, because I hadn't been to that bay in a little bit, so it could have been the last group there. Maybe somebody could have.
That's a great radio story. You should mention that on all the shows.
I will.
On my bachelor party, I broke my foot at a Topgolf.
Oh, okay.
What?
Yes.
What is going on at the Topgolf? How did you break your foot?
It was like the most dumb. It was nothing crazy. Like I just kind of rolled my foot off the placemat and like chipped a bone in my foot.
No way. Did you have to leave and go to the immediate care?
Well, it was my bachelor party, so I was hammered.
Okay, so you didn't feel
really, really drunk. But that night around 4 a.m., I went to go take a tinkle. And
you were in the stairwell?
I woke up in the linen closet, and I went to the stairwell naturally.
Why am I still at Topgolf?
Yeah, defecated in the bay.
I got out of the bed and just fell to my knees in pain, just my foot's not working.
Oh my God.
And I had to crawl to the bathroom because I really had to go. And then when I woke up, I was like, yeah, I did something to my foot. It was a little sore when I went to bed, but it didn't it was nothing crazy. Went and got X-rays that morning, within probably 3-4 hours of that, and had just the smallest little chip in the back heel, and was in a boot the rest of the weekend.
Wow, was this?
Nashville.
Nashville. That's
it was
what I thought.
the 2019 or 2018 NCAA tournament. It was my bachelor party when UK's 3-point streak actually came to a sad,
Davidson?
pathetic, end.
Wow.
Yep, and then got Buffalo though the next game.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
That was Nate Oates.
The last of the fun for Kentucky. All right, long overdue for our first break. Get your text into the Game Day Men's Health text line. We need to talk about this NCAA situation. What the hell is going on, Alabama and Charles Bediako?
Sounds right to me.
I was always bad at saying it in 2023, but I thought for sure I was done. Here we go again. Kentucky roll call back after this.
See, I come from the D where
take on Texas tonight at Rupp Arena. UK looking to build on some recent SEC success, and Texas kind of fighting for its NCAA tournament life. Obviously, there's plenty of basketball left to be played. Back half of January, all of February, a little bit into March as well. But this will go a huge way for Texas if they do want to make the NCAA tournament. It'd be a pretty sizable slip up for Kentucky. So keep the momentum going, Mark Pope, and these Kentucky Wildcats, which are comeback wins. Incredibly fun to watch, enjoyable to watch. And when they're down in the first half, it's painful. And it's just like, has this team ever played basketball before? But it's all part of the experience, baby. This is Kentucky Roll Call, Big X Sports Radio. TJ Walker, Stephen Peak, producer Matt Childers. We're going to have Jacob Polachek on the show in hour number 2. But really fun first segment. A long one, but a fun one. And we're going to tell people about Game Day Men's Health in here in just a second. But, well, I know, Yeah,
so Matt, here's the thing. I'm not going to be able to stop thinking about this for a long time. So I'm just curious. Matt told the story in the first segment about how he worked you were the manager at Topgolf, right? And somebody defecated in one of the bays. And I was just talking to TJ during the break, and I was like, so was this a group of people? Or was it just one guy who, like you mentioned, drunk people having issues with that, and he just, this is where I'm doing this? Because I feel like if it was a group, somebody would have had to have been like, dude, don't do this. This is not, like, how do you do that around all your friends?
So at least me personally, I do not know if it was a group or a single person, because it was towards the end of the night, and when we get so late in the night, there's only a few groups of people even there. Most of the bays are turned off, and everybody's ready to go home. And a lot of people that come in at night don't order anything. They just play golf for like 45 minutes to an hour and then leave. So what I imagine happened was their server went over and asked if they wanted anything, and they just told them, I'm just going to play golf for a little bit, which happens very, very frequently. So they were like, okay, I'll just, I'll leave you alone then. I'll be back, whenever your time is up. And then they left. And then they came back to check on them, and there was fecal matter on the floor.
Like a lot of it?
It was enough that you could smell it from down the way.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, that's terrible.
Not good.
Gosh.
I mentioned this word probably too loosely, but that you really do just have to be one of the biggest losers out there to do that.
If it was on purpose, which I can't, there's bathrooms there,
okay.
Matthew.
Okay, but then if it's not on purpose, then you have to be a big enough person to be like, hey, something horrible just happened.
I get that. I understand that some people have health things going on.
To make somebody pick that up in a prank or retaliation, you're just a sick individual if you can just drop your pants and do that really anywhere besides the toilet.
That's the thing.
Unless you're on like a camping trip, but to just be like people who will you hear about it like on a restaurant or on somebody's car or something like that, or even in the old flaming bag of poo. And that at least maybe you can have like a little privacy. But
that was back when we were an honest country.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He called the bleep poo.
I hate to bring it back up, but it was just.
No, it's an honest question,
I think you
because
for the whole show that we're not going to be able to move on from
like
this.
like I said, I completely understand. There are people out there who have health conditions where things just happen sometimes. I completely get that. This was just sitting on the floor.
Yeah, it's like
would require effort.
Yes, that's what I was getting at. Yeah, there was obviously a removal of garments.
This was premeditated.
It was premeditated. Man. Wow, just a wild story. I have questions about the other stories too. We'll just have to save them for another show.
Yeah,
the homeless guy living in the closet is a wild one too.
I'm always ready. I always got him.
Yeah.
I've took notes. I'm going to come back to that later.
This is a day that we could probably go 3 hours, because I have some nonsense to bring up with Jacob in hour number 2.
Nice. Always love that.
There's a wild story, and I just don't know if it's going to translate as well to radio. But guess what, everybody? We're going to find out in hour number 2 if it's going to translate to radio or not. But let's go ahead and talk about this Alabama situation. Updates are ever unfolding. You come to KRC for the breaking news on Charles Bediako. But he basically announced, it was a couple days ago, maybe even yesterday, where it's like, hey, he's sniffing maybe a return to college basketball, and everybody had a good old-fashioned laugh about it. I even wrote it in my diary. Charles Bediako, who hadn't played basketball since 2023, is trying to come back. Ha, 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 ha. And then today it comes out and it's like, all right, well, a judge says that he can play. A judge says that he's eligible. And issued what, like the restraining order, a temporary restraining injunction, the blah, 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 legal terms. And his court date is now the 27th of January. So basically,
he can play.
He can play according to the legal system.
Does that make him an eligible player? Like, it wouldn't be like Alabama if he's ruled ineligible later?
So this is where I admittedly tried to find answers and just kept coming up short. Can schools just admit people whenever they want?
Yeah, how does his credits transfer? Like,
and maybe
how
they're on
does
like
that
a
work?
trimester situation at Alabama, and maybe you are still in an enrollee standpoint.
Well, what happens if the classes he wants to enroll in are already full?
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
waitlisted.
Is he changing his major?
We've known for a good while that like the academic aspect of this is all a sham.
Sorry. I refuse to believe that.
Aren't there rules just to be a member at an institution? And I don't know, maybe it's the fact that he was there in 2023.
This isn't about getting a degree?
A matter of fact, your credits are right here where you left them. Just come right back in to Dinosaurs 101, buddy.
Dinosaurs 101.
Hop on in. I don't understand that aspect of it, but obviously that's all a charade to begin with.
I love that thought. Just imagine you walk into your like Chem 101 class as a freshman, and there is 2023 draft prospect or draft pick sitting right next to you. He's like, "Yeah, I'm taking up a role for an injured player on the team."
I left when we lost in March, so I only have notes up until then. My notebook kind of stops here on March 3rd.
You might help tutor me.
Yeah,
That's why it works. Him coming in, later. Maybe if he comes in March.
I like that.
Next year, just pick up right where he left off.
See, we're not giving him credit. Maybe he tested out of all of his
I think
courses.
Jacob's here.
Well, college has changed a lot since the last time he was there. I mean, now ChatGPT is a little bit more prominent. I hope he can adjust to the college life again. Did you see the NCAA put out a statement? Matt shared that with us.
The NCAA has put out a statement, and did you see the statement that Alabama put out?
I have not seen that one.
I almost think the Alabama one is you got to kind of read first, and I don't have the exact wording in front of me, but basically Alabama basketball came out and they said, we look forward to supporting Charles and his hope to Jacob was doing the tongue thing in the mirror or in the window. He was doing like
I figured he was.
Yeah, on the live stream maybe you could see it, but anyways, I apologize. But they came out and they were just basically like, we look forward to supporting him as he goes back to get his education.
Good for him.
So the NCAA has come out with a statement. And basically, I took Alabama's statement being like, we're going to look into this. We're not saying no to it. We're not coming out and saying like he's not welcome back here, which is interesting in its own right. But the NCAA has come out with its own statement. And this is from Pete Thamel via the NCAA. And it said that these attempts to sidestep NCAA rules and recruit individuals who have finished their time in college or sign NBA contracts are taking away opportunities from high school students. A judge ordering that the NCAA let a former player. It's just going to jump around until it makes me just too flustered. A judge ordering the NCAA let a former player take the court Saturday against actual college student athletes is exactly why Congress must step in and empower college sports to enforce our eligibility rules.
Okay, so they're doing nothing. So they're basically saying we can't do anything until Congress acts.
And
I guess that's the fact of the matter.
They are. And be the smarter fan in your group message or in your friend group or when you go to the bars. You can whine and moan about the NCAA all you want. There's nothing they can do. There's just nothing they can do. They're saying it point blank in their statement. They're saying, like, no, this is not all right. When you leave college basketball and you go sign an NBA contract, you can't come back and play. Yeah. But then they followed up by saying, like, but until Congress does something, what do you want us to do? And while people are going to blame the NCAA for this, people are saying, all right, TJ, there's nothing they can do, but it's their fault they're in this position. It's their fault, blah, 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 blah. You can make a case that a decade ago, 2 decades ago, they needed to be smarter. They needed to see where the wind was blowing and start making some changes. They were entirely too late. People should be able to make money off their name, image, and likeness, although this is a slippery slope with all this stuff.
That's where we got to, right?
Yeah, there were, maybe you up the stipends. There were things that you could do.
But I think it would just delay it. I think we would get to this point anyway. It would just you would get to the stipends, and then be a little bit more money, a little bit more, and then we would end up here eventually.
Well, potentially, but maybe you could have done something with the eligibility where you said, hey, you get this 4-year earning period as college students. But once you leave it, you're out. They could have done some things, but granted, they didn't have a crystal ball. But they just dug their foot in the sands for entirely too long. So I don't want to say that the NCAA is blameless. But the thing that we just have to remember, because the NCAA is it's going to lose its power. Either Congress is going to come and step in and save the NCAA, and we all know how good the government is at fixing things.
I'm sure they'll fix it.
The more government, the better. So I'm sure if they do, they will find a way to even blow it in their own right. But that being said, that's what the NCAA is banking on. If that doesn't happen, then you will just have a correlation of leagues. I don't know what they'd want to call it. Basically, like a state. United States of America. You'd have the Big 12 with their rules. You'd have the Big 10 with their rules. You'd have the SEC with their rules, and they'd probably come together on some things. They'd probably put together a tournament. You'd have interconference or out of conference scheduling, but until they all came together and said uniformly, this is what we need to do, these are the rules, it would be different. So one of those two things are going to happen. Either the NCAA is, with the help of the government, is going to get all this figured out and basically make these students employees.
Yeah.
Or these conferences are going to do it themselves if Congress doesn't step in, because this isn't going to be okay. Like, schools aren't going to put up with this much longer. And Nate Oates has a quote from like a month ago.
Yeah, I saw Pat Forde put that out and had his.
Pat Forde has me blocked, so I guess.
Oh, does he really?
See that?
Wow.
I've got some wild Pat Forde stories. We can save those for another day.
Yeah, sure.
But what does it say if you have it up there?
Well, of course he quotes Nate Oates from a week ago. Nate Oates said you kind of have to if they're eligible and somebody else is going to get them. Pat Forde, quote, retweeted that. It said, I'm pretty much over Nate Oates bringing up the, quote, I was a high school coach thing as a virtue signal that he cares about opportunities for high school recruits. He cares about winning with whoever the courts will let him put on the floor.
Yeah, so that was the initial quote that I was referencing, was he said he hated that Baylor was taking in Zeke or whoever it was.
Right, yeah.
And said, I hate that it's taking away opportunities from high school kids. Admittedly, you're a hypocrite. And Pat Forde, while generally wrong, right about that. You don't care about high school kids. You care about winning. So I really am like defending the NCAA here. They can't do anything. And people chipped away at it so much that there's nothing left of what we knew from it. And they were powerless. Now, to their credit, like, they deserve some blame for that. But NCAA presidents, college athletic directors, they are the ones to be blamed. If you want to say, where the hell did my college athletics go, blame them. Blame the conference commissioners. They were the ones who allowed it to get like this. And for what it's worth, the NCAA presidents are the NCAA. They are what make up the NCAA. They're the ones that come up with the rules. So it's not – the NCAA is great. Like, when it's working, we love it, right? NCAA tournament's the best thing in the world. College football, it's amazing. I don't want that to go away. I don't want conferences to go rogue and make their own rules. I don't want the SEC to have influence over Conference USA. I don't love that. I'm an SEC guy, but I don't want the SEC running the sport. I want everybody working together to run the sport. And theoretically, in the NCAA, it's like that, or at least it's supposed to be like that. So I'm kind of quick to defend the NCAA when everybody – Alabama, don't play them. Nate Oates, don't play them. Come out with a statement and say, while he is eligible, while a judge says we can play him, and while he's welcome to come back here and get his education, and we love him, he is not going to be a part of this team because that's not right. That's not right. You can do this. You can come out and say, like, hey, you can play the holier than thou. And admittedly, Nate Oates, you need to do that. You should do that.
But what do you think about his statement that if I don't do it, somebody else will?
Well, then let somebody else do it, and then let everybody go after them. But until somebody steps up and says, I'm not doing it, which he did, it ain't going to change.
I think for me, and I'm being the Louisville fan here, which Pat Kelsey has already got a G Leaguer on staff. Like I said, nobody's broken any rules yet. Nobody's enforcing any rules.
There are no rules.
There are no rules, but at the same time, I still don't like it. I think the thing I hate most about it is this is the second time, at least in my knowledge, that we've seen a coach who originally, when this stuff came out and started happening, was against it, and then they just kind of went back on what they said. We saw it with Kelvin Sampson, too, before.
I must have been dreaming, but I thought you and I argued about U of L bringing in that G League player. But we got to go to a break. Hour number 2, Jacob Polachek coming up next on Big X Sports Radio.
It's another year here in our River City, and what better time to show your support for our high school's athletic programs. Whether it's basketball or football, track and field or
Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio. TJ Walker, Stephen Peak, producer Matt Childress, and joining us from On 3, Jacob Polachek. Jacob, what's up, buddy?
On 3 and Rivals.
On 3, Rivals.
Jacob Polachek
KSR.
Yeah. So I walked in here and TJ's throwing some big words at me. I tried to compliment him on his beanie and he's throwing weird words at me.
I already forgot about that.
So I'm already
Things
intimidated.
move so
being
quick
here.
with Jacob. I even forgot about our first conversation. I've put it on, even though I didn't have it on for the first hour,
Wait,
so I'm going to have to take it off.
Steven, what do you call one of these?
Yeah.
I call it a toboggan, and I know people get real upset about
never heard that word.
because toboggan they say is a sled. This was always explained to me that that's not what that is. So why do we call it a toboggan, TJ?
I don't know. I think a toboggan. He calls it a beanie, which I've heard beanies before. Isn't there like one other term as well? But it's a. I think the flap separates a beanie from a toboggan.
I've never heard that.
But I'm always going to call anything you put on your head that keeps you warm a toboggan for what it's worth. But I wasn't wearing this in hour one, so my hair is all crazy. I don't think anybody really cares. But I'm going to take it off now. And I just realized I'm wearing my 2017 Metro Flag Football Championship.
Oh, hell yeah.
I was the quarterback for that team. Not a huge deal.
I looked up a toboggan, and this is.
Well, that's a playground.
Oh, that's not even close.
No, a toboggan is a sled, but it's also a hat as well. But I wore this shirt when I proposed. When I asked my in-laws for their daughter's hand in marriage.
Yeah, proposed to that.
I was wearing like a nicer shirt underneath it, but over top of it. But I had this on underneath it. I think I've told this story before. But when I went over there, I was just like, "Hey, I'm doing an appraisal in the area. Can I swing by and say hey?" And they were like, sure. They probably knew something was up. And I go over there, open the door. Dog runs up, bites my stomach, puts a hole in my stomach. And this is a championship flag football shirt. I worked my tail off beating Doug Beaumont, Scott Radcliffe to get this shirt. No
you beat Scotty Rad?
Yep, sure did.
Oh,
whoa.
Now, it has since gotten bigger. The dog's tooth wasn't a saber-toothed tiger at the time.
Man.
But, so every time I wear this shirt, it reminds me of that day. R.I.P. to Cookie, who took a big bite out of me. And I had a hole in my stomach, and I think I proposed to my wife like 2 months later or a month later.
Same shirt?
And she never noticed that I just had a ginormous hole and bruise and scab on my stomach. Just never noticed it. So, anyways, hour number 2, Jacob, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing great.
You
Thanks for having
cold?
me. Yeah, I don't like when it gets like cold out because then I have to put on more clothes and then it's like yeah.
San Diego kid over here. Milwaukee though, right?
Yeah.
Where'd you live? Did you live in San Diego for a little bit? But did you lived in Milwaukee for how long?
Yeah, for 3 years.
Okay, so that doesn't count.
Yeah, from 1998 to 2001.
What day did you move to San Diego?
I moved to San Diego the day before 9/11, actually.
That's a wild story.
September 10th.
Wow,
that is the day
before.
Yeah. September 10th, 2001. Moved to San Diego. So I had nothing to do with.
Okay. All right,
Jacob, we've got some serious things to talk about in the world of sports. Well, it's not all that serious at all. But we also have some fun stuff to get to as well. What would you like to do first?
Let's do the serious stuff.
Okay.
I'm a serious guy.
How you feeling about the game tonight? What's up with Tyron Stokes? Cats are back in the picture. Are they really, though? Will Stein talked on Monday.
You're just rapid fire.
Yeah, no,
right.
Go ahead. The world is your oyster.
All right.
allergic to shellfish.
I'm not allergic to shellfish. I don't think. Maybe. All right. So let's talk about the game tonight. We gotta. There's a.
Are you gonna be at Rep Arena?
I will be there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be heading that way soon. I really don't know what to think, which has kind of been my thoughts on this team all year because they have a 3-game winning streak. They've looked very good at points, but I still haven't really seen them put up a real complete game in any of those 3 wins, obviously. So this will be a real test, I think. I predicted them to win in our KSR predictions, and I'm being a little optimistic, thinking that they're going to have their first real complete game of SEC play and not come out flat. But I'm also at I have to believe it. I have to see it to believe it kind of stand.
Totally with you on that. Where they're due, right? Like Kentucky is a 3.5-point favorite in the first half right now. If you're a gambling man, and I think I think you can get Texas like plus 170 or plus 180. On the first half money line, which, again, gamble and bet responsibly, but there is a sense of, like, why would you bet Kentucky to be up at halftime when right now they've shown no indication? And then secondly, with how streaky of a team Texas is, Kentucky could actually play well, but if Texas is just on, they've got some great scorers. Swain is somebody that can go for 25 any given night. Kentucky fans obviously are very familiar with Mark doing that exact same thing. Jordan Pope's a good player as well. They've got scores and 4 guys that average over 13 points per game. So I couldn't believe that when I saw it. Plus, let me see what it is. Yeah, plus 240 for the game money line, Texas is. So I'm nervous for tonight.
I am too. I've talked about it in the first hour. This game really has me worried because of this. Like I said, this should be a 2-game stretch where this week, by the end of the week, you're right there to control your own destiny to win the SEC.
Okay, Tremont Mark is minus 130 for 15 points. I don't know, folks. That seems like free money. Jordan Pope at 13 points. I know that's his average.
I know. I'm looking at it right now. They got Kentucky. You said favored to got 3.5-point favorites to lead at the half. Can we please have a halftime lead in a high major game? Has not happened yet this season for Kentucky. Isn't that amazing? It is January 21st. Kentucky has played, what is it? Is it 12 games now? 11 games. They played 11 high major teams this season. They have trailed at the half in 10 of them and have been and they were tied against North Carolina. Jacob, does it finally happen tonight? Does Kentucky finally get their first half lead? They get to play with a lead to open the second half.
I'm hesitant to say yes, but I'm still going to say yes.
Okay. It's got to happen eventually, right?
It's got to happen. I say no. I say they're down at half again.
Is that just our strategy? Let's just get down.
I say they're down like 3, though, so it kind of feels like a win. I think there is some truth to what Dan Issel said earlier this week, that I think Pope is a little too substitution happy, and then he tightens it up in the second half. But to what Matt Sack said, I think is also accurate, that he needs to be substitution happy because you just don't know what you're getting from some of these role players.
So you're figuring it out to the first 20 minutes. You're collecting data, if you will.
Oh, he's a big data collector, so he's doing that exact thing. I still think it's probably too many substitutions, or you should at least leave a lineup out there. But when it's been 4 minutes, Jacob, and you haven't made a field goal, yeah, it is time to switch something up at that point, too. So you can't really have your cake and eat it, too.
Yeah, and you would hope that now with Lowe officially out and Quaintance has been out for a little bit, like my reasoning for why I think Kentucky's going to win tonight is that they're finally finding a rhythm without those 2 guys, and they're learning how to play together just with those guys basically off the table at this point. And so I think that this is going to be a game where things really click for them lineup-wise.
I hope you're right. All right, I got to ask you.
Yep.
JQ, is he off the table?
For just good. Your opinion.
For good? Yeah, tonight he's definitely off the table.
Sure, he's already out for tonight. That much has been confirmed. But somewhat a more positive update from Pope than nothing at all. Said that they're really optimistic he'll be back, I think was the wording.
Yeah.
Don't want to misquote Pope.
Yeah. I'm probably like 60-40 right now.
60-40 that he's back or not back?
I'd say 60 that he's not back.
Oh, boo. So. Switch it around. No, okay. I appreciate that.
We can make it 50-50.
Didn't Pope say something similar about Kirk Kriisa towards, I guess, even as late as like right now, like mid-January?
Did he?
I was in a lot of those. I think you were too. It was like we're working with him to get him back, and I don't know if he ever said the term that exact phrase, like we're optimistic to have him back. But it was something along that line.
I thought it was around this time of the year that it started to become clear that like that he wasn't coming back. But I could definitely. I think
it was right around the New Year when people were starting to be like.
But that we were speculating that whether he would be back or not. But I still think that it was. Like Pope, I don't think was saying anything, but this is obviously a different timeline because Kerr got injured.
We're super optimistic, and he's kind of going through the process, and hopefully he'll be back soon. I know that's not very descriptive, but I'm trying to be protective of him also.
Yeah, see that we're optimistic and we're hopeful. I just lean like 80. I'm like 80% that he won't be back. And if I'm proven wrong, I will love to be proven wrong. I would love to see JQ back out there. I really, really think, despite how he looked in the last couple of games, he can absolutely help this team.
And unfortunately for Kentucky, I think that if he does sit out, it doesn't, like I said before, it just won't affect his draft stock. And so it might.
Right.
Like, that's gotta be factored into consideration.
Do you think though that he like kind of needs to play just to prove that this knee swelling isn't something to? Okay, all right, fair enough.
Unless he really wants to like climb, because obviously he's not the number 1 pick right now. If he wants to climb into that top 5 and kind of cement himself as a top 5 guy, then he probably needs to play. But right now, I think he's
locked for lottery.
Locked for the lottery, probably a top 10 pick.
And that's certainly not nothing.
So
I took this quote from Pope just to be, again, I'm certainly reading too much into it, but I almost took that as in, hey, he's going to decide if he wants to come back or not. Not saying that there may not be some knee swelling or something could be going on with the knee, but that quote almost came off to me as that he may shut it down, he may not. He's going through the process.
I feel like he wants to play. I think if you ask Jaden Quinn, put him on truth serum, he would be like, I want to go play tonight. Mike Miller is his agent, right?
Yeah.
If you're Mike Miller and you have this guy who is going to be worth millions, tens, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars, do you want to risk him getting injured or even like risking draft stock by maybe not looking as good? Because he didn't look that great the last couple of games. Anybody want to take that one? I'm looking at you, Jacob, but TJ.
I mean, yeah, it all depends on working with JQ and his people and being like, hey, right now these teams have you as hypothetically, let's say the number 8 pick. And it's like, is that okay with you? If you sit out, you're going to be the 8th pick.
Yeah, they're not going to pass.
Or are you dead set on becoming a top 5 pick? And even if you play great, that's not a guarantee. I mean, Darren Peterson, AJ Dabansa, and Cam Boozer, those are the top 3. They're going to be the top 3 picks. Nate Ament, Caleb Wilson, those guys are right there. They're going to be hard to pass up. So I don't know how much flexibility there is with JQ's draft stock, so I'm sure he's getting that feedback from agents, from NBA teams of, hey, you sit out, your stock's probably not going to move that much.
We're talking with Jacob Polachek of On3Rivals.com, Kentucky Sports Radio. He joins us on Wednesdays. We're happy to have him here. If you've got any questions for him, the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Everything you just said, I couldn't agree more with. On top of it, too, though, on the flip side, do you want an NCAA tournament run? Do you want the NCAA tournament experience? You didn't get it with Arizona State, and it's, I guess, kind of up in the air with Kentucky right now. They're looking good right now. What were they? 29th in the voting? They were maybe 30th. They were like 5th or 4th in receiving votes. The good news is if you are in the top 25 or near the top 25, you're going to be an NCAA tournament team. So keep winning. That stuff will take care of itself. But that's going to be a big thing for JQ. You don't need to pick up a basketball again until draft day. And Jacob's right. You're going to be a lottery pick. But you're also never, unless you're going to go to Alabama and you're Charles Bianco, you're never going to get a chance at this again. Like, it is now or never for you to get this experience and to have fun with this. Does he want that? You came to UK to have this experience. I get it. It maybe wasn't handled perfectly, and maybe you haven't had the most fun time in the world. But it's now or never if you actually want to help this team make the NCAA tournament, get a better seed, and then have a March moment, have a March run, win an SEC tournament championship. How much does that matter to JQ? And if the answer is not that much, then we probably have our answer.
Yeah, I think I'm the wrong person to ask, and I think none of us can answer that. The only person you can ask is JQ, and that's up for him to decide.
And he's off limits.
Yeah.
I'll put out a media request. See if he can come on.
Oh, yeah, see if he wants to come on the show.
See if he'll come on a roll call. I'm sure that'll get a solid yes right away.
We just have one question. Are you going to play again this season?
Yeah. We'll make it really short and sweet.
Or are you coming back next year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He could come back. That's right.
He's eligibility.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's a good point. Okay, Jacob, what is the latest with Tyron Stokes? Kentucky had an assistant go out there and watch him. I'm only kind of reading the headlines throughout this whole thing. He is in no rush to make a decision. It's looking like April or May. I think he even had a quote saying, I'm cool checking out to see what teams do in the transfer portal and who stays and who goes. So at one point in October, November, it seemed like it was just a matter of time before he was a Cat. Then UK had no chance. But now they're sniffing back around. So where do you think things stand with Tyron Stokes and Kentucky's recruitment?
Yeah, so Kentucky assistant Jason Hart was at Hoop Hall to watch him play. I found it interesting just talking to people that went to that event. There weren't a lot of college coaches there. There were like 10 college coaches. So usually that's a big-time high school event, but it didn't seem like a lot of college coaches were there. But Jason Hart was there watching him. Right now, Kansas is just coming up a lot in that recruitment. I believe he's visiting there for the BYU game, the Kansas versus BYU game, and he's going with Tay Kinney, who's committed to Kansas. I think
That doesn't seem like a good sign, TJ.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And so I think Kansas is the school to beat right now. But Kentucky's still trying. They're still showing up for his games. Part of me thinks that if they were going to land him, they would have had to land him in October when all the buzz was swirling around them. But right now it feels like they have ground to make up. I don't think they're completely out of it, but I think that they have work to do if they want to get him.
Is it something, in your opinion, and this is just your opinion, but is it if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense, or is this relationship repairing?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think the thing is, the thing I've been hearing for a long time is the longer this drags out, the better it fares for Kansas, because Kansas is obviously an Adidas school. This just gives Kansas time to figure out the whole Adidas Nike thing with Stokes. And if Kentucky was able to lock him down in the fall, Kansas wouldn't have
We thought that was going to happen, right?
Yeah, it felt very much like he was nearing a decision in the fall. That got delayed, and it really gave Kansas more and more time to work out their pitch to Tyron of, hey, we're an Adidas school, but we can get this done. You're a Nike athlete. We can talk with Nike, do all of that, do the things behind the scenes, and I think that Kansas has had that time. It doesn't sound like he's going to be committing anytime very soon, talking about trying to win a state championship. So you would think that he won't be committing until after the season, and that just gives Kansas more and more time to figure this out with Adidas.
Oh, don't like hearing that. I still want Mark Pope to have some fun toy from the freshman class, or from the class of 2026 for next year. There were so many great options, and seems like he is whiffing on all of them at this point. So no good there.
Yeah.
Any better news?
Yeah, what's the best news you got for us?
Yeah, tell us something good, or joke.
We could start talking football recruiting if you want to talk something good.
All right.
Yeah, right now, basketball recruiting, I'm still in that position where I don't think there's a player that I would consider them the favorite for. I don't think that necessarily means they don't sign a high schooler, but right now there's no clear answer for what high schooler they would get if they were to sign one.
All right, we go to the NBA, and we fill in the holes there.
That's not a bad idea. A lot of teams are doing that. Very popular, very in trend right now.
Can you get a guy from the NBA? Like, is there? Can you just sue and say, yeah, he's playing in the NBA, but he's on a 2-way contract. He's only making $500-something thousand. He'll make $2 million playing in Kentucky. NCAA, you can't hold this guy back from making more money. That's unconstitutional.
You can certainly try it. There will be lawsuits, and
But the NCAA is they can't win one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out on trying that, but it does seem just like ridiculous.
DJ Boston, come back. Give him another shot.
Alabissier, we'd love to see you.
Shaden Sharp still has 4 years.
There you go.
Yeah, people would that would. Yeah, he can repair his image at Kentucky by coming back. I think it's a good idea. Shaden Sharp, come back to Kentucky, play the rest of this season.
Big football recruiting weekend, although we'll keep an eye on the weather with all that. Just maybe a name or two that you think Kentucky could land, or it's just impressive that they have on campus, or what's going on with Stantom?
The one guy I'm watching right now is Dylan Berryman. He's one of the best players in the 26 class. It's really between them and Nebraska. Right now, he's a defensive lineman. Let's see, the Rivals Industry ranking has him as a number 211th player in the class, and Kentucky's really closing the gap there. He's friends with Kenny Darby, who's already committed in the 26 class, a wide receiver, and it was really like a 50-50 race for a long time, and I think that Kentucky's right there with Nebraska. He's committing on February 4th, and I think he still has visits to I think Oklahoma State and Clemson are both pushing to get him on campus, but it really feels like Kentucky and Nebraska for Dylan Berriman.
Okay, that is a big boy.
Yeah.
That'd be a big get if you're able, maybe somebody that could help you out day one, although that can be rare in football these days, but certainly not impossible, but that would be a good piece to have. And okay, that's a fun one, like all the news that we're hearing with UK football. Have you heard about this elephant in India?
I don't think so.
Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting, Jacob.
Okay.
There's a rogue elephant
That has college eligibility left.
Roll Tide.
and it's killed 22 people over 10 days, and it's still at large. It's just running around, and it's getting people supposedly mostly at night.
Huh. Wow. I
mean,
You're learning about this for the first time.
I need a second to digest this first.
It is. It's that's a wild. Why is it just? It's what this one elephant, right? Like they've confirmed. It's not multiple elephants.
Yes, it's correct.
Like they're getting you. Like does it just sneak up on you? I mean, it's an elephant.
Yeah. How does it sneak up?
Most attacks have been at night, but not all of them. And yeah, it kind of just camps out, waits for people to go to bed, and then it makes it. I mean, it is horribly sad.
Perfect elephant.
That 22 people have been killed.
That's terrible. I mean, it's really terrible.
I mean, that's just terrifying too. I mean, you're not stopping an elephant, but it supposedly is an elephant that is young. It's been separated from its herd. It's only got one tusk, maybe, and it's extremely violent. And they've tried to shoot it with a tranquilizer like 3 different times. I don't want to be.
Is this like their version of Cocaine Bear?
It seems like it.
How fast are elephants? I feel like they're faster than you would think.
Terrorizing locals who reportedly climbed trees and slept on rooftops to stay out of its reach.
They could run 25 miles per hour. So they can outrun.
See, this is why I have.
Over the last 5 years, more than
at home.
2,800 people in India have died from deadly encounters with elephants.
How many?
2,800. Nearly 3,000 people in 5 years have been killed by elephants. And you have to think about it. Like, if an elephant wants to kill you, it's just going to kill you. It could do it to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, like 25 miles per hour.
And, I mean, theoretically, you could even have a weapon, but it may not matter. It may not matter in the span of you surviving. We're all kind of in shock here and a little terrified.
The average person runs 5 to 12 miles per hour, depending on fitness and distance. And an elephant can go 25 miles per hour, so it can close in pretty fast.
Human-elephant conflict is on the rise in India, attributed to habitat loss, resource scarcity, increased residential encroachment. I mean, stay away from the elephants. Roughly 10% of the areas that used to be elephant corridors, safe routes for their migration, no longer exist. They're also dying in higher numbers from train hits, electrocution, and poisoning. I mean, that's not good.
No.
So I can see why the elephants wouldn't be too happy.
That's why they're upset.
They certainly don't seem happy at all. But all right, so you're not familiar with that story.
No.
You got another interesting
my guy
one.
Justin, who deals with my rodent issue. I'm gonna inform him that
Run this by him.
we need to make sure that no elephants are getting in the house either.
Mouse in the house. 502-414-1450, the Game Day Men's Health text line. Trying to pull up any tweets or anything. I don't know if it's an internet thing. I don't know if it's a my computer thing. But
You trying to get some texts?
Yeah, why don't you read a couple texts?
Okay. We have one. Let's see. In 2009, UK played at Ole Miss during the ice storm. Do you remember that game, TJ? I'm trying to. I remember watching the Super Bowl between the Cardinals and the Steelers.
2009. Is that what the text says?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the game I went to then. Because I went to the Mississippi State UK game my senior year, and nobody was there. The crowd was terrible, and Billy Gillespie was switching everything. And I forget the player for Mississippi State, the guard, but they did have Renardo. He was there at that time, the shot blocker. He was incredible. But they had this guard, and they kept switching. God love them. But they kept getting Perry Stevenson switched on this Mississippi State guard. And this guard would just drive right around him and score a layup. Drive right around him and score a layup. Drive right around him and score a layup. Yeah. And I remember I just screamed from the lodge seating and the upper level, because we were able to sit basically wherever we wanted, at Billy Gillespie, to the point that, like, the bench looked up at me. I was just very frustrated. Just a frustrated little 17-year-old boy.
Oh, man.
Is that the text, though, or did they bring up anything else?
That was it. That was the whole text. We have one here from Dylan Ballard. Said, I don't get to listen live much anymore. Listen to it on podcast, but today I have a long to-do list at work. I'll be in the
Dylan,
office.
are you ever going to text me back, Dylan?
Wow.
Is he leaving you on red?
Dylan, I'm talking directly to you. Text me back. All right, continue, Steven.
He said, so I needed to listen to something while I'm knocking this stuff out, so I'm loving having you guys on the screen while I work. He's got the YouTube, sent a picture. He's got the YouTube pulled up.
Hello, yeah, the YouTube stream. It's the way to go. Give us a like. There's some comments there as well. We're always big fans of that. Are either one of you on Blue Sky? No big deal if you are.
I am
Technically,
not.
yes, but I have not logged on.
Which one's
in a
Blue
long
Sky
time.
again?
That's the liberal one.
Okay, but what is it? What's it? Is it related to anything?
No,
it's its own thing.
Threads is Instagram.
Did you see where Threads? They said apparently they have more users now than Twitter does.
That can't be right.
That's what I said.
I will say
I'm not on Threads.
I like Blue
I'm not
Sky
either.
more than Threads, but I don't like either. They seem pointless when you have Twitter.
Yeah.
Right.
I get like there needs to be a healthy competition, but it seems like Twitter has survived this fraction.
I
Look
think
for the most part.
Threads edges out X and daily mobile users.
I wonder if that's just they're counting anybody that has Instagram. But they really do try to make
Maybe.
you sign up for Threads. There's been several times I accidentally clicked on something,
Yeah,
and the next thing I know, it's trying to make me sign up for Threads. And I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. Producer Matt, did you pull up the tweet that I sent you all?
Not on the computer. I have it on the phone.
I got it.
I don't want to read it all by myself.
The bus
Yes.
stuff. Okay.
There's a lot of...
Yeah, it's pretty wild, though.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's worth reading every single one of the tweets, but I really think we probably need to. So, Producer Matt, will you read every other one with me?
Like,
and we'll make it go
you do
fast?
one, then I do one?
Yes, correct.
Okay, yes.
Okay, this is a thread from Blue Sky, and it easily probably has to be the best content from Blue Sky. But I have no idea if it's real or not real. That's the only thing.
Wait, so Blue Sky just looks just like Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And they supposedly just like totally make up and fabricate like all their numbers in terms of like I don't know. There's a bunch of bots over there, but there is on Twitter too. So who's to say what's real? All right. So this is about a bus jacking in Virginia. A bus gets hijacked. Maybe. I just woke up from a nap, and somehow while I was asleep, everyone on the bus has figured out we're not going to the right place.
They switch drivers at a rest stop, and the new driver is telling everyone that they're the ones on the wrong bus?
They're just gaslighting everybody. Be like, no, you all are on the wrong bus. All right, back to it. He's refusing to talk to anyone while he's driving, and now he's just driving really fast.
People are calling the police.
I think I might end up in Vienna, Virginia, but I'm not sure.
First off, that's a crazy just guess.
Yeah.
Two big guys just went up and said, we're going to Union Station. And he said, no, we're not.
Someone got the bus company on the phone.
They're looking into it, but he's still insisting we're not going to Washington, D.C.
It's particularly weird because this route only has 3 stops: Penn Station, Union Station, and DuPont Circle.
The bus company says that they are trying to call the driver and he's not answering.
Someone pulled up Waze and said he's going 75 in a 55 zone. I mean, just take a break and imagine just the panic in this bus.
Yes,
People
I
are
know.
starting to realize
We're laughing, but
we're not going where we're supposed to be going, and we're in a ginormous bus going 75 miles per hour on the expressway with a guy who's potentially not supposed to be driving the bus. All right, continue. Sorry.
And the lady behind me says he said he's stopping in Vienna and Manassas. So I'm going to end up like an hour outside D.C. at 10 p.m. on a holiday, and also, who knows where?
Okay, someone got the bus company on speakerphone and is walking up to the front of the bus.
I can hear the bus company guy yelling, "You're going to Union Station."
The lady with the speakerphone hasn't come back to her seat yet.
The company told him to take us to Union Station, and he screamed that he doesn't get paid enough and is refusing.
Oh, no! I recommend Best Bus.
I unrecommend.
I unrecommend.
Two passengers in the front are still fighting with the driver. In the back, we're debating whether calling the police is going to set him off.
So at this point, they're like having a mutiny. Like, don't call the police.
Do we
I
let
don't
him-
want to drive them crazy.
Do we
Like,
just let him finish, or do we?
the bus is divided on calling the police.
if people take their phones up with the company reps on speakerphone, he grabs them and hangs them up.
People are screaming at him, "You're gonna get fired!"
Passengers are now
seems like
fighting
the
with
least of
other
his
passengers
worries.
because they don't want the guy to be set off any more than he is. It seems like the consensus is get him to just stop the bus somewhere.
I agree with the bus passengers at this point. Like,
Yeah.
just pull the bus over and
Walk
let
it
us
out.
out, please. You take this bus wherever you want, but let us out. The next one says, someone else tried to talk to the driver because we're almost to D.C., and he says he has family to go home to and doesn't have time.
Where's the police? Why are they not tracking this bus yet? How long? It doesn't
This
say.
goes on for 3 more threads.
Oh, it doesn't really?
Yes, like go.
Oh, gosh, I only saw the initial one.
Yes, there's 3 more, or sorry, there's 2 more threads of this, and there's pictures.
Oh, my goodness. No,
There's a picture there.
I only saw the
They
initial
have
one that I sent you.
Images of the man driving the bus,
I just saw one. He was trying to crush this girl with the door.
and she's covering her face.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how does it end? I guess we can't read all of them. I was just gonna read I thought we were almost done.
The very last one, he says, also a clarification based on people's comments. The driver wouldn't give us his name, but he was apparently French. I don't know why that is important. At one point, a passenger even started arguing with him in French, thinking he just wasn't understanding. Update: woke up to a refund and an apology by 7 a.m.
Oh.
It's a picture of like the bus company emailing him.
No, so they got a refund. That's it.
As a resolution, all passengers on board will receive a refund for this trip, along with a round-trip travel credit for future use.
Oh, you get to do it again.
Passengers are blocking the bus from leaving, and there's a kid under 18 who won't get off because. I would be running off that bus. Company sent us another bus.
He'll get us somewhere.
Crazy guy finally got everyone off the bus and drove off. Police didn't show, possibly because we couldn't figure out if it was supposed to be going to Vienna or Fairfax. So the guy just got away?
I guess so.
That's crazy.
They
Why
just drove off with a bus and didn't get arrested?
How is there not any? First of all, how does the company not able to track all their buses? And then secondly, why weren't the police pulling this bus over?
That's just an incredible story.
It says crazy guy finally. Yeah. What the heck? I'm really confused about this.
Yeah, I feel like we don't get as good as a conclusion of like, hey, the guy has agreed to just drop us off somewhere, but I think that's what happened. But yeah, if you're not on Blue Sky, you may have missed that story. I had, but I'll retweet it into your timelines on the current Twitter. But just absolutely wild story. While it's funny to laugh at, Peak's right. That would just be so terrifying if you were actually on a bus and having no idea where it was going.
Just imagine you just had like the worst day of your life. Your girl like left you. You've got fired from your job, and now this crazed French man is driving you all the way to Fairfax.
Well, at that point, I would just be like, yeah, just wherever. Just take me wherever. Take me
think
to
it's
the
like
crash. Take me to the crash site.
Like it's like westward expansion. You're like, well, this is where the wind's taking me. Start a new life.
We need to take our last commercial break. Jacob, you hanging out or you got to run?
I'll hang out.
I don't think I have any other weird stories, but I'll see what I can dig up, buddy, okay? Don't you
I
worry.
can figure
We
something.
do have a bunch of texts on the Game Day Men's Health text line. We can read those texts as well. Preview for predictions for Kentucky, Texas tonight. This is KRC on Big X Sports Radio.
I was back in Texas.
Hear that? It's Sandy.
I wanna wake up in Texas. I miss those wide open skies. I miss my 20.
Welcome back. One final segment. Kentucky Roll Call here on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. This is Game Day. Game Day with Jacob Polachek and Stephen Peak and TJ Walker and producer Matt Childers. Get your text into the Game Day Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Game Day Men's Health. Redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, sexual performance therapy. They've got it all. GameDayMen'sHealth.com, defining a new era in men's health. Your day-to-day can be tough. If you're sluggish, just tired, dealing with the kids, don't have as much energy, let GameDayMen'sHealth.com take care of you. Go to their website. You'll be impressed. You won't be disappointed. Let's get to some more texts, I think. That's a good idea. A texter says, Texas leads the country in free throw attempts per game, but I'm sure that famous home whistle that every team benefits from will help us out. I noticed a hint of sarcasm in that.
I bet if we did a study on it, we would find that we actually do get a home whistle, but it does sometimes feel like when I was at Tennessee. I brought that up yesterday. That there's so many calls where I want to get upset, and I'm like, well, it's just you're on the road, you don't get calls. But yeah, maybe we could get a whistle tonight. Let's let some of those foul calls go on call tonight.
Yeah, so I actually think there's an interesting dynamic to this because Texas, to be able to beat good teams, they're going to have to get to the free throw line. If they don't, they're just not going to be able to win. However, their front court is not very deep. So if they were to call a pretty ticky-tack game, how do you pronounce his last name? Volkaitis, their big guy,
yeah.
Matas Volkaitis.
Yeah.
If he gets in foul trouble, I don't really see a scenario that Texas is going to be able to win at Rupp Arena. Famous last words, right?
Right. Yeah.
But they're incredibly guard heavy, and he is just the lone big man anchor for the most part. If I'm Pope, I'm trying to probably go at him early on. Would you take that trade-off? The game having kind of ticky-tack fouls. However,
no.
Volkaitis gets in foul trouble, has to be on the bench.
They shot 32 free throws against Alabama. I don't want to watch that.
Well,
I don't want to watch that.
Right,
I don't want to watch a 3-hour game with them at the free throw line the whole time. No, I'm out on that. I get what you're saying though. That if you can get one of their bigs in foul trouble, sure, why not? But I don't know. I wish. Do we know the officials tonight yet? Do we know them? Because that might change my answer as well. I don't think we have that. Do we have that anywhere?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't seen
it. I'd rather just let's play through some contact. I always like a game that allows a little bit of that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't want it to be ticky-tack. But if it is, I hope they call it on the big man from Lithuania for the Longhorns. 502-414-1450. Yeah, this new era of college sports has kneecapped Alabama football, but at least it got them Charles Bediako. Mitch Barnhart's option A is 1-5 in the Big 12 and just got blown out at home. Yeah, Baylor. It is a rough go for Baylor right now. Did that Mexican restaurant save Kentucky basketball? Many people are wondering.
Huh. Could have.
I don't know if I saw Baylor women's team record, but I knew Baylor had a terrible start to the season. I thought they turned it around. They have not. They're not good. They're not a good basketball team.
Well, yeah, I wasn't really excited about the Scott Drew hire anyway, and maybe he would have worked at Kentucky. A lot of people said, "Oh, he'll work. They'll be great under Scott Drew." But I was just like, this hire just bores me.
It was a very missionary Mitch sort of hire, but I would have been all right with it, and I would have really liked it if VJ Edgecombe what that team maybe would have looked like last year. But ultimately, it was, I don't know. How inspiring is Scott Drew?
I also think it's comparing apples to oranges because I think that Scott Drew with Kentucky resources puts together a completely different team.
Agree with that,
and so it's hard to just kind of.
I wonder what
translated
Calipari
over.
would have done in this season.
That's a good question.
It probably kind of would have depended what he
Exact
did
same
last season. With
He probably. I don't think he changes a thing. Does he?
No, I think his team looks pretty much like Arkansas, maybe with Jaden Quen's.
Scooter Dingus texts in and says, "Same for texting me back, Dylan. What the heck, Dylan? You not texting people back? What's going on, Ballard?" Could the four of you gang up together and win a fight against said elephant?
No.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
No, Jacob by himself though.
I mean, in reality, how many people, let's just assuming they're all clones of you, how
Okay.
many of you would you need to stop that elephant?
Whew.
But
The Indian
good question.
rampage elephant.
can you guys be with me?
No, it's just you.
Okay.
Just different versions of you.
I feel less confident. It's just me. I think that you guys.
And assume you don't get a weapon either, right? Like it's just
So just by fist.
It's just
Like,
you.
Just
I think-
fisticuffs versus the elephant.
I think the 7 of us can come up with a good strategy.
Who are the 7?
I think I'd need 100 TJs.
Yeah, I do feel comfortable with it. Yeah.
And even then, I mean, God, goodness gracious, probably 70 are just going to get murdered in the process.
Are you okay with giving 70 of yourself to take out this elephant?
What no? Okay.
I think we could do it. I say we try.
The texter says, "Can we go ahead and bring in Rondo Jr.?"
Hey, why not? Get him started. Get him in the.
Have you watched him?
Yeah.
He's really fun.
Unreal. He's an 8th grader, right?
Do you
Yeah.
think that he'll be a Kentucky lean, like a heavy Kentucky?
That would be fascinating because U of L fans are always
Yeah.
so quick to be like, Rondo wanted to go to U of
The
L.
Sebastian
Hey,
Telfair.
but there's a chance he's scorned because you dweebs, dinguses, dingbats brought in Sebastian Telfair. And how did that work out for you?
How many wins did Sebastian Telfair have at Louisville?
He didn't have any.
Dang, that's crazy.
And Mike Rutherford has some weird conspiracy theory that like Sebastian Telfair, if you follow the tea leaves, leads to Andre McGee, which leads to Louisville's banner.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing it service. I'd be misrepresenting it.
Well,
But it was
Rutherford's
something like
listening. I'll listen to his show when he
When
comes on. I
they-
want to hear him talk about this.
when it came out that like Telfair wasn't coming, that they went and scrambled to get like Andre McGee or something like that. And then if Andre McGee had never gone to U of L, then he would have never been an assistant coach at U of L, and then you wouldn't have had Billy Minardi Hall and Karen. Well,
Karen Cipher would happen anyway.
You're
but-
right
but
about
yes,
that.
But
Sorry, wrong scandal. They all run together at some point.
they do.
Today, a texter says, "Do they have awesome wings?" I'm always hearing about. I love eating awesome wings. Don't know what place you're talking about specifically, but I don't know if we've mentioned a great wing place today.
No, Salsaritas doesn't have wings.
The texter says, "Damn, TJ just admitted he went."
You want to finish that one, DJ?
I'm not going to.
Well, you didn't, I guess. Yeah.
Why does KSR keep putting names out like Oscar and Ty Ty to return to UK? They have logged NBA minutes. Is Pilgrim half stupid? I think they're just having fun.
Yeah, well, okay, but to say Oscar Tshiebwe, I mean, why not? There are no rules, TJ. Why not? I don't care if he's played a few games in the NBA, whatever. You're hurting his growth as a player in NCAA if you don't let him play for Kentucky again. I'm done. Do we need to even have eligibility anymore? Can a guy just play in college forever? Do we need to just limit it to 4 years? You're hurting their ability to make money.
When I tried,
I'm being sarcastic if
this
people
was
can't
like
tell.
15 years ago, when I tried to defend the NCAA, it's like, hey, you got to sign up to play for it, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. And everybody was like, well, you got to change this though, and you got to change that. And I was like, well, you don't really have to. Now they probably should have, and they should have worked with athletes and stuff like that. But I promise you, Peak, I had a similar take. I was like, all right, if you let, I didn't predict it was going to go down like this, but I did have a take like that, where it's like, all right, then why do they only have 4 years of eligibility? Why do we settle on 4? Why don't you get to play college athletics for 8 years then? If that's what they want, right? If that's more fair, and it is true. If you're just going to keep saying like, well, we're going to do it actually this way. No? Well, then we'll sue you. Actually, we're going to do it this way. Well, no? Then we'll sue you. Then it does get to a point where it's like, all right, why don't we just make this little mini professionals?
It already is. So, therefore, can you just go out and get whoever is willing to play for you, regardless of where they played last season?
Yeah.
Or this season, for that matter.
Texter says, does the name Dink Pate mean anything to our much appreciated Kansas alum, Jacob?
Yeah, he's a good player. He just I believe he just got ruled eligible to come from the G League. I don't believe he's ever played in an NBA game. He was the youngest American professional basketball player, I believe.
Yeah.
And
he's 19 right now.
Yeah, and so he's going to go to a high major program. I don't know if Kentucky's going to be going after him, but there's going to be a lot of high major programs going after him.
So the G League, what do they make? What's the average? Like $50,000? Is it really that low? I saw there was like a league average.
I think it's a guy like
not for two-way. Two-way they get like 500,000 something.
I think a guy like that can negotiate a pretty good contract because he was a top 40 recruit maybe.
I admittedly don't watch a ton of the G League.
No, but I think Jacob's point is that if you're in the G League because you don't have anywhere else to go, then your salary isn't all that great. But if you're in the G League as hey, this is where I'm developing, they actually do make decent money, I think.
Because if you're like an average G League player, could you help out a Tennessee Tech? So what I'm saying is when you talk about limiting the options for high school players, if you're Tennessee Tech or if you're one of these lower mid majors, maybe you do start recruiting G League guys because you can probably pay them what they're making in the G League or more.
Yeah, but if you're Tennessee Tech, you're competing with a lot of high major programs to go get those guys.
But some of those guys aren't going to be good enough to play for a high level program. I guess is what I'm saying. But it really our guy, one of TJ's favorite college basketball commentators, Pat Forty, just said. It is limiting high school high school players out of basketball to go get a degree.
Actual good guy though, John Calipari, he's had that point for a long time.
Yes, you're right.
That hey, this is for high school people and students. This isn't for adults with families to come back. Cal's been on that for a good while. And by the way, I totally misread that other text that Kentucky played at Ole Miss during the ice storm. Was that the Janine Edwards game? There was bad.
That was at Ole Miss.
Yes, I know. That's what that text says.
Oh, okay.
In 2009, UK played at Ole Miss during the
Oh, sorry, my bad.
So was that the Janine Edwards game? But UK did have a bad weather game against Mississippi State in 2009, too, for what it was worth.
I guess it must have been if it was 2009.
Yeah, but that was a really frustrating loss. But weren't they all under Billy Gillispie?
Most of them,
He had some bad ones. 502-414-1450. India has nuclear weapons but can't stop a killer elephant. I have wondered how, the military...
They should nuke the elephants.
They just nuke it.
Well, I'm not talking about nuking an elephant, but how has the military just not kind of stepped in and said, we love our elephants, we love our wildlife, but this one needs to be...
Well, because we're
going to take it down.
Right?
You can't just shoot it. You have to give it... It's got a right to a fair trial.
They did try 3 different tranquilizer darts, so they can get a shot on this elephant, but for whatever reason, they don't want to kill it.
At this point, it's probably just immune.
Well, yeah, but
TJ's trying to figure out a solution to this.
No, I mean, sadly, you just kind of need to get this elephant on TV. We need to, you need to see this elephant.
Have they tried asking the elephant to stop?
That's also a fair question.
Yeah.
Quit it.
Yeah.
Cut
it out. Have they tried protesting the elephant?
Show them happy elephant videos and be see, we can work together. Have you all ever ridden an elephant before?
No, have you? You said that like you have.
Yes.
You have?
Yeah, they used to do it at the Louisville Zoo, and then I think there was an elephant tragedy, and they no longer let you do
that was,
it.
of course, that was going to happen. They were literally just we're going to do this until the inevitable happens, and then we'll stop doing it.
I 100% remember riding an elephant at the Louisville Zoo, and you can't steal my memories, NCAA. Now they don't have
you
elephant.
are entitled to compensation now.
This India thing is scarring, but I actually think they had some terrible incident at the Louisville Zoo, and they were like, all right, we're not going to ride them anymore. And now they don't have any elephants at the Louisville Zoo. They're all gone.
What?
They took them all away. It was really sad. They had that baby one, and it didn't make it, unfortunately, and then they just kind of took them all.
The tragic death of its 3-year-old elephant in 2023.
Yeah. I think it was Fritz or something like that. It was a cute little guy.
Aw.
Yeah. Anyways, Cats Longhorns tonight. Should be a fun one. Woo!
Horns down.
Should be a lot of offense. Here's one thing that worries me also. I'm telling you probably to take Texas plus the 7.5. It's actually down to 6.5. I was just seeing that. I would probably take Texas in the points here tonight. I'm nervous about this game. I think it's going to be a close one. I'd love for Kentucky to prove me wrong, but similar to what both these fellas have said, show me first. Show me that you can have a good first half. So I think this one's going to come down to the wire. I'll go Kentucky by 3. But what happens if Kentucky doesn't make 9, 10, 11, or 12 threes? That hasn't really been the norm.
Brandon Garrison's going to hit 2 threes tonight.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a prediction.
What are the bet odds on that?
I could totally see 1. 2?
He's hitting 2 tonight.
Texter says that they offered him peanuts. But I'll take the Cats by 3, 84-81. It's another one we have to sweat out because they're just going to give us all a heart attack.
Yeah, Kentucky 79-72.
I'll take that defense performance.
Yeah, a little bit more defense. I think they don't let Texas get to the free throw line as much as they have been.
Another texter says, don't we just need a bunch of mice to scare the elephant? And Jacob
There
has
you go.
thousands of mice.
Yeah, oh.
Thousands.
Yeah,
Are they gone? Are they officially gone?
There's millions of them.
Wow. But no elephants, though, so that's good.
Yeah, they're scaring away the
TJ, I
elephants.
found that story about Wave 3, 2005, they talked about how years ago a young man was seriously injured near elephant rides at the Louisville Zoo.
Okay, I'm glad he didn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your take on the game tonight, Jacob?
I think I predicted 80-70 Kentucky.
Okay, I'll take that too.
And here's my hot take. Besides Brandon Garrison scoring,
Hey, how many do you have?
besides Brandon Garrison scoring 40, I think Kentucky goes coast to coast. Does not.
Beautiful.
Never trail?
Post-game
Oh.
show.
They never trail.
Bud Light Kentucky post-game show on ESPN 680. Immediately after the game, you'll hear this same old raspy voice. Go Cats! Thanks, Jacob. This was a lot of fun. We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow to talk about it. Play a little trivia as well.
Family.